Vietnam Steve for the last little while and run through what some of my plans are for next week and the week after. I've just got to try and get the live stream up here on my computer. Then I will be able to see any sort of messages or things that come through. So a little bit behind the 8 ball. I set it to go off at a particular time, 2:30 on the clock behind me, and we'll explain why it's 2:30 in a moment. Nothing to do with going to the dentist and having a sore tooth, but more about I've had to duck down to Australia for a family matter. So I'll just open up my YouTube here, bear with me, and I'll be able to see all the questions that come through. The reason I thought I would have a live stream today was had a lot of comments on a recent video. So thank you to all those people that logged in, took the opportunity to ask me a question, and also tell me what their plans are for coming to Vietnam. Got it all operational now. Planning to run for about half an hour. Good day, Frugal Wanderer. How are you? I thought I'd better get the live stream happening rather than talking about it. I'm at my sister's house in Perth, Australia today. I've come down for a family reunion. I caught up with my mother late last week, and also caught up with my father who lives here yesterday, and my other sister from another part of Australia. So we've been having a good time, and I'm heading back up to Vietnam on Friday. And when I go up there, I'm not long in Ha Long. I'm going on a bit of a tour, so I've got some itchy feet, and would love to explore a little bit of Ha Long while we've got some good weather. The flight down to Australia, and I came to Perth, so that's a little bit closer. It's about 6.5 hours from Ho Chi Minh City to Perth. I came on an airline that's a budget airline, so no frills. And the benefit for me is it's a daytime flight. So I think it leaves Ho Chi Minh at around 10 in the morning. It's a 2 hour or 1 hour time change to here. And it gets down here 6 or 7 or 8 hours later. So it's a daytime flight, doesn't sort of tax your body too much. What I've been doing down here, and it's wintertime in Australia, so and wintertime in Australia means it's a little bit cold. I was smiling. I just got a message from my sister. I'm at her house and she's at work. I told her there was no live stream today. I'm too busy tidying up things here and getting ready for leaving on Friday. But then I did get it all organised, and so I thought, why not? I've got an hour spare. The budget airline's good. The problem is with all airlines, they try to compete on, you know, if I give you 2 biscuits, the next airline will give you 1 biscuit. It's like a race to the bottom, and eventually it will grate on your nerves. I'm lucky because I read books on the plane, so it doesn't really worry me. I've got what I call a wind cheater that I put on. It's got the hoodie over the top, and if I want to have a sleep, I put the eye mask on. So I've had a great time down here. It's a little cold. My sister's house has been overloaded with family guests, and I've been sleeping in what we call a caravan. That's like a trailer for the North Americans that are looking at this later on. That's outside, and it's a little cool out there. I had an interesting story from night number 1. I got up to go outside for whatever reason in the night. We're in the bush here, and I came back in and thought it was a bit cool outside, so I put the heater on, and lay in the bed. After about an hour, I thought it was a bit cool. The heater was not heating up the caravan, the trailer. When I got up, I found that I'd left the door open, so sleeping in about 4 or 5 degrees. Now, I did post a VART earlier this week about the cost of living in Vietnam, and I got hundreds and hundreds of comments or something like that about people that are coming, how much is this, how much is that. So if you do watch this live stream down the track, by all means, ask me what things cost. Ask me if I can help you, direct you with this, that and the other. I'm always happy to help. I only really know what things cost for me, and I'm not really a frugal traveller, but I don't like spending money, so I don't know if that makes sense. I did see in the Dragon Castle where I live there, somebody is renting out an apartment not dissimilar to mine for about 6 million dong a month. That's not much because there's probably 18 million dong to the 1,000, so it's probably 300 bucks. And so 300 bucks a month, but you may have to pay 100 bucks electricity and water on top of that. Yes, so Australia has a big tax on cigarettes, and I don't know why they just don't ban them if they don't want people smoking. A packet of cigarettes here costs about 60 Australian dollars for a 30 pack, and the tax on that would be 35 Australian dollars. So it's a lot. Now, funny you should ask about black market cigarettes, Frugal Wanderer, because of this price gouging in Australia, there are people that sell tobacco that hasn't gone through the government tax process. And it's also almost gang wars. There's shops being firebombed, and people have their territory where they sell illicit, prohibition cigarettes. And I had my niece here this morning. She's gone now, but she was telling me her local Turkish shop that she goes to for a lovely Turkish meal also had a grocer out the back that sold these type of cigarettes, and it's been firebombed, and the restaurant is no more, so she's not happy. I'm looking forward to getting back to Vietnam. I've been away for about a week, and does my head in coming to the West. I had to do some money-making stuff earlier in the week. I had to visit my mother. She had an 87th birthday on the 28th of June. I've then come to visit my father, who's not the best. He's he's 86 as well, 86, 87. He's on dialysis, so that's a chore for him. And then just spending a couple of days with my two sisters that got themselves together. The trip back to Vietnam is going to be a daytime trip. I'm leaving here at 8 o'clock, get to Ho Chi Minh at 2 or 3, and then fly up to Ha Long 6 till 8 at night. So I'll be back in Ha Long at 8 p.m. and looking forward to bringing you some live streams from the streets, so live at the streets. The interesting thing is I'm planning a tour with some family members that are going to come up there in October, and we've been mapping out where we'd like to go. So I sort of spent a bit of time rattling off where I'd been, and then I thought that would be a useful story for people in the live stream, because I could rattle off where I've been and what I like to do, and people in the chat could tell me where they've been and what they like to do. If you get out to Ha Long, Frugal Wanderer, make sure you let me know, because I'll definitely be out there. It's a good spot. It's not a big city. It's a tourist destination. Even on the weekends out there, there's buses and buses of Vietnamese people that come from other provinces to come to the bay, get some fresh air, get some fresh seafood, and do some shopping as well. So It's a tourist place, and it suits me okay because my love is there, so that works well. Um, the things I like to do in Harlong, so I've got a little list here that I've got my sister lined up for. So when she comes in October, this is what she's going to be doing. And she's only going to have 3 or 4 nights in Harlong. So she's going to fly into Hanoi, and then I'll probably go up there and meet her. But it's a $100 Australian taxi fare, so 1.5 million dong from Hanoi to Harlong. So we'll throw her in a taxi and we'll get her out to Harlong. Now, when she comes out to Harlong, the things I like to do that I've done in the past are go to some hot springs. So there's a lot of hot springs around the local area. There's all sorts of different price ranges on that. But of course, I go to one that ends up with a buffet at the end because I like to eat the food. So we'll get her to the hot springs. And I'm also going to take her up to the China border. So it's great to be able to say, I'm driving to China today. And so it's not often, as an Australian, I get to drive to China. I don't know if I can cross the border. Well, I can, and I can get back because I have a long visa, but I don't know if my sister can get back on what visa she's on. So we'll see how we go. China has had some thawing of relations with Australians, and we can now go to China for 14 days visa-free. Yeah, getting a 3-month visa in December would be good. Now, the warning. December is cold. I mean, if you're in the south, Ho Chi Minh and down around there, it's warm. In Hanoi in winter, you might hit some days that are 10 degrees to 14 degrees. It's cold. There's places in the north of Vietnam that have snow on the hills, and I've been to a place called Sapa in the winter time, and it was freezing. Out at Halong Bay, I found it too cold for me. I'm Australian. There are some days there that it's 14 degrees and it's windy off the bay, so that's a little chilly. And in winter we have a heater in the bedroom blowing to keep us warm at night. But being Canadian, of course, you'll probably enjoy a bit of cool weather just to refresh the energy. The other thing that I would do in Harlong would be a cruise, obviously. So everybody wants to do a cruise. I can't say that I'm a big rap for the cruising situation. I used to live in a beachside area, and I had my own boat, so I'm not wrapped up in going out in boats. I have found they'll say it's a 2-day, 1-night cruise, but you leave at 1 p.m. on one day and you get back at 11 a.m. the next day. So they call that 2 days, and you've had one overnight. So it's not really a 2-day cruise. However, it is pristine and lovely to see. I'll probably send my sister and I'll go with her, of course, on a day cruise. So we'll try and get something that goes out at 9 in the morning and comes back at 6 at night or something. I've got a couple of friends in Harlong. One guy, he's an oyster farmer, so he tends to some oyster beds about 2 hours. We go on a boat, for about 2 hours, and out in the middle of Halong Bay, a long way from Harlong, his oyster beds, and he has a pontoon boat out there that's as big as this house I'm in, and he lives out there and tends to the oysters. So I might try and line him up for a picnic. We go out in the morning, we eat seafood and drink beer all afternoon, and come back in the evening. I worked on a cruise line in the 90s. Yeah, they lose their attraction. The only way I would be attracted would be as if I had my own boat. So a cruise is something you can do in Harlong. So we've got the hot spring spas. You probably haven't heard of them. We've got going up to the Chinese border. It's called Mongkai is the town up there. we've got a cruise. Because it'll be the first place for my sister to come and see, going to get her into the whole coffee situation. So she'll be keen to taste all the egg coffees and the coconut coffees and coffee this and coffee that. And we have one of those sun worlds. It's like a Disneyland here that's connected to a temple. We'll get her over to that. So 3 or 4 days, and also meet all the family and have family dinners and things. So probably not a tourist escapade like you would have, but it's getting to know the locals. That's what I like to do. Hanoi is worth a visit. I probably like Hanoi more than Ho Chi Minh City. And the things that I like to do in Hanoi, or I have done in the past that were interesting, was I went to all those streets in the old town, Book Street, Music Street. It's just interesting. I went to a place called the Temple of Literature, which they sort of tout as Vietnam's oldest university, established in 1010. 1010 was a long time ago, and there's some quite interesting stuff there. I did enjoy that. I went to see Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum. I went inside and saw old Ho Chi Minh. It worked out well, but I have heard that there's queues for, could be an hour queue to get in. I just sort of got on the queue and I was in and out in 20 minutes. So that worked perfect for me. The other thing that they have at the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum is at sort of 8 or 9 o'clock at night, they change the guards. So there's a whole lot of jackbooted people walking around, bringing down a big flag, putting up a whatever and changing the guards. That's quite spectacular to see. It's about 8 o'clock at night. You'd have to Google that one up. And I enjoyed that. There's also, it's near the main lake in Hanoi there, and they close all that down on the weekends. So the plan is to get my sister there on Friday night, and we can walk around the lake and the traffic's blocked off, and it's a real great place to just relax. And of course, again, on my little list of things that I want to do with her in Hanoi is I've got a couple of restaurants lined up that I want to go to. Frugal Wanderer. The plan is to fly into Hanoi and take my time travelling back to Siem Reap via bus and trains. Well, there is a train that goes from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh. That would be quite interesting to go on, I would think. When I mentioned to the locals about getting a train from Ha Long to Hanoi, because when you Google it up, it says there is a train, but all the locals say there isn't. It's you're sitting on a hard seat like this table, and it's about a 7-hour job. So, but there's those sleeper buses that you see, and I think if you get up to Hanoi, it's worth going up to Sapa. So Sapa is it's the highest. There's a mountain there, not called Sapa. The town's called Sapa, and the mountain is the highest peak in Indochina. So it's very high. I went up there. It was in the clouds the day I was there. So good for Steve, not good for tourism. Their specialty is salmon, so they have a lot of salmon on the menu. I can't say it was the best salmon that I ever had. In fact, it's a bit overrated, but you'd have to have a salmon dish when you went there. Nice place. I stayed in a chalet. I went to the top of the mountain in a cable car. The cable car's 6.5 kilometres long, so it's the longest, steepest, highest cable car. It's a good spot to spend some money. Yeah, salmon. I guess it comes from rivers or lakes or something, or they're grown in lakes. They did taste like they needed to be in a running stream and get a bit of conditioning on them. So, but needless to say, as you know, in Southeast Asia, you don't complain about what you're eating about. It's a mind over matter thing, really. I've been telling the family here this week some of the things I've eaten, and even I can't believe what I've eaten. But if you don't eat, you get a bit hungry. And the thing I like, I'm not a vegetarian or anything, is that there's no waste. So we're not eating, we're not having food and wasting it. It would not be as good as Canadian salmon. um, the third big city, and I mean, I've got about 10 of these places. I'm not going to go through them all. The third big city is Ho Chi Minh City down in the south there. And I will get out to Cambodia at some stage. I watch another guy who's a Canadian in Nanning, China. And he does the walk and talk stuff that I actually like, and I do watch him, and I'd like to go from Hanoi to Nanning up on a bus that way. It's a couple of hours up into China, but you know, there's a lot of things I'd like to do. You know, my wants are bigger than my abilities. Big Dow, thank you for joining the live stream. Is that the Bic Dow that I actually know? I know a Bic Dow. Bic is a very popular name in Vietnam. A lot of the ladies are called Bic, B-I-C-H. The T is silent, obviously. Canadians have the gift of the gab. Look, it's interesting the style of YouTubes, you know, because my sister here, she watches the Sailing the World, high production value, drones, HD, edited, and it's nice, but I may as well be watching a TV show. I like to see, you know, I don't like the live stream I'm doing now. I like to see the street going by in the background, people on motorbikes. I like, with Frugal Wanderer, I love all the tuk-tuk drivers that try and give you a ride. You know, I just like to see what's happening in the place. So I'm a fan of that. I'm not a fan of sitting in a room here with a wall behind me. I talk about Bic Dow because that is my wife's name, Bic Dow, but clearly she's at work, not listening to Vietnam Steve. Ho Chi Minh City is too busy for me, but that said, it's like it reminds me more of a westernized Asian city. So I don't feel like I'm in Vietnam when I'm in Saigon. That said, we have there's a Vietnamese guy that has a restaurant chain in Australia, Luke Nguyen. Oh, we'll be going to his restaurant. We'll be going to the Landmark 81, which is a 81-storey building, obviously. Get a good view up there. I know a couple of good places to get bun cha and pizza, so it's largely food related. And we'll be back to the Independence Palace, which was not popular with YouTube. I did a YouTube of my tour to the Independence Palace and struggled to get people to look at that. So clearly, Saigon is not a popular place when it comes to Independence Palace. One place I haven't been that I've seen some people go to is a museum, and apparently it's well rated, so I need to get along there. But you know, 3 nights in Hanoi, 3 nights in Ha Long, 3 nights in Ho Chi Minh, 3 nights in Da Nang as well. So, walking streets great in Ho Chi Minh City. The weather is warmer down there, so she'll be hot. It's more expensive, in my feeling, but obviously it's cheap compared to anywhere else in the world. Da Nang and Hoi An. So my sister's fascinated with Da Nang and Hoi An, so we're going to go there. Da Nang is on the beach, lovely beach scenes, and very close to a theme park called Bana Hills, which is another one of these temples on the top of the hill, and also Hoi An, which you've all seen the photos of Hoi An. That's a wonderful place. The things that we would do there are really tourist related, so they're not going to be my cup of tea, but they'll help my sister out, see what Vietnam's all about. My goal is to get her to feel the relaxed nature of the place, enjoy fresh food rather than processed food. I mean, the amount of processed food I've eaten in the last week, it makes me not feel the best. In fact, we're drinking wine last night, and one of the ladies is putting drops in the wine to negate some of the sulfides in the wine, and I kind of thought, God, give me a break, you know. And she could only have one glass because she only put one drop in, and I kind of thought, well, put the whole bottle in your bottle and drink the whole bottle. But processed food, not good. Um, Sean, the weirdest things are popular with folks. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing that seems popular with people, and you're very good at this, Frugal Wanderer, is the eat and talk, the meal. People love to see the meal. Now, that's good for you because you're a loner and you're sitting there eating a meal. When I'm sitting a meal, I've usually got family with me, and filming food is, you got to do it right or it just looks like CRAP. And there's people talking all over the place. So for me to film food, it's not going to happen. But people love the food filming, you know. I spoke to my sister this morning about where this channel's going, and that's going to be the second half of what I'm talking about for this hour. And that's quite interesting because you're always, I'm tempted to follow Frugal Wanderer and get moving, but I don't need a job, I don't need a job. I just need to enjoy the creativity that comes with being a YouTuber. So the reason my sister is ending up in Da Nang is that she comes from Perth, Australia, which is where I am here, and there are new flights on Malaysian Airlines, Da Nang, Kuala Lumpur, Perth, for very, very cheap. So she's booking herself on these new flights that are being wrapped up. And we're doing all the bookings Thursday. She's off on Thursday. So the main places that she's going to see, Ha Long, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, Da Nang. Now, just quickly, before we hit the bottom of the hour on this YouTube, I've also been to a number of other places, and they are equally as good. So I went to a province called Dak Lak, D-A-K-L-A-K. It's up in the mountains, and I think Dak Lak means lakes. It's renowned for its lakes, but they also have a lot of elephants up there for moving bamboo around in the olden days. And now these elephants are there as tourist attractions and will actually let you touch them, take them out into the lake. It's a phenomenal experience. So it's out in the boondocks of Vietnam, so you're not going to have the glitzy lights of Ho Chi Minh City, but it is the authentic Vietnam. So Dak Lak is a place to go. I've spoken before about the lack of planning that I find in Vietnam. It does my head in. People don't seem to plan. We're going to someone's dinner tonight, someone's place for dinner tonight. My question would be, what time are we going? The answer would be, I don't know, 6, 7, I don't know. So the lack of planning does do my head in. I had a phone call last night from a couple of ladies, and they said, would I like to go to Dalat with them next week? D-A-L-A-T. So I said yes, because I'm open to all experiences. And we're off to Dalat next week. Now, my sister's coming to Vietnam, and she's planning it in October, and she's planning it in July. These girls are going on a trip away. They're planning it on whatever today is, and we're going next week. So spontaneity is the thing. And I've had that happen before. These same ladies said, would I like to go to Korea? I thought, well, yeah, when would you like to do that? Oh, we're thinking of going the week after next. Whoa, okay. So fast planning. Yeah, off the beaten track's good. It's my cup of tea. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And so I do what I like. And that'll be my comments about my YouTube channel here that's gone nowhere fast, but does get a lot of interaction. Well, gets enough interaction to amuse me. Other places I've been, Phu Quoc, that is not off the beaten track. That is an island that is closer to Cambodia, I think, than Vietnam. In fact, used to be part of Cambodia. And that is a beachside rock show like Thailand or Bali. There's this white sand beaches and chalets right on the beach, and that's a good spot for a holiday. So Phu Quoc is a place I can recommend. And I've been to some smaller towns, largely because I've got relatives there, Uon B, Quang Yen. I mean, they have 500,000 people, so they're not small, but it's just a different style of life. And it's all family related. There's no angst about people pulling in different directions in families. It seems to be all family related. So thanks for the few of you that have joined in, and I don't know the best way to get these live streams going, whether you need to sort of publicise them hours before. I had mine set for what is 2:30 here in Perth, and went about making myself a cup of tea, had a bowl of pumpkin soup, put some sour cream in it, and then came back to see that the live stream had been set for 2:30 a.m. tomorrow. So that didn't help me for 2:30 p.m. today. But I want to do one a week. I only want to go for about an hour, and I don't want to. I want to really take questions. A lot of people have questions about accommodation. How do I find the food? It's mainly questions about accommodation. I don't know how many times I can say $400 a month. $400 a month, you're living. Everywhere seems good in Vietnam. There's 60 provinces, so imagine a place with. I don't come from the US. We have 6 states in Australia, so we have 6 capital cities. They've got 60 provinces, so they've got 60 capital cities. Yes, I set up a timer, Frugal Wanderer, and it counted down, and away we went. I've got it running. You'll be interested to know this live stream is running straight from my iPhone. I have put my fuzzy microphone on the end for no reason. I'm not outside, just because it makes me feel important. And I have the iPhone on a tripod up there, and I have my computer straight in front of me here. I do understand the problems of looking at the live stream while you're talking on an iPhone. That is tricky, but I have mastered the iPhone live stream and the horizontal process to make it go horizontal. And the reason I did this was I've got to do them. I always say I'm going to do a spontaneous live stream, but I am wrapped up in it, but it's amazing how little it takes to keep me busy, to be honest. So where's the channel going? Well, for the last 3 months, I've been punching out 2 VARTs a week, trying to be Tuesday and Thursday, but it might be Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Friday. But I time them to go off on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then if I feel like bringing them forward, I'll do it. I thought what I could do, given that we hit the 1st of July, was I'd smash one a day. Why not? Sean does it. The Frugal Wanderer can do it. Why can't I? And then I've been mulling that over in my own mind, because I've got a couple lined up. But it's not really me, so I'm not going to do it. What I'm going to do is stick to the 2 a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm going to focus on jamming a live stream in somewhere. So there's 5 days there with nothing. I can jam a live stream in. I also punch out a couple of shorts of food-related stuff, and they are interesting. They bring a few subscribers to the channel. Before I go on, thank you all for subscribing, thank you all for liking, and thank you all for commenting. My subscribers are going well. I've either hit 800 or I'm close to 800. I could get to 1,000 if I went out with a plea for subscribers, and I would be there. My problem is my watch hours are very low. So in YouTube speak, we need 1,000 subscribers, and I'm at 800. And if I begged everybody to share this, we would get to 1,000 very quickly. I've had 80 subscribers in a week in the past, so that's not difficult. Getting people to watch content that is not their cup of tea is difficult. So I don't do long live streams, because if somebody turns off after 5 minutes on a 30-minute live stream, or turns off after 5 minutes on a 6-minute live stream, it still means the same to YouTube. So my watch hours are below 1,000, and that's the trick. You need 4,000 of those. So I really need people to watch a little bit longer, please. And what I'm encouraging people to do now is to just share my VARTs to other people. All of that said, and all of those numbers, blah, 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 relate to monetization. And it's not really my goal. My goal would be monetization from the perspective of you would be in the top 10% of YouTubers globally. If you are getting 1 cent from YouTube, I think only about 10% of the YouTube channels are monetized. So that would be an achievement to be in the top 10% of YouTubers in the world. The amount of money that you would get from YouTube, and I think Frugal Wanderers. Another person I watch is just putting one up. How much money I make from YouTube, and this guy's got 100,000 subscribers. I know it's not going to be enough for the amount of work that he puts into making the channel. Yes, I saw you get monetized, Frugal Wanderer, and whatever money you get, it's not enough for the amount of effort you're putting into the channel. So it's nice to get recognition. It's nice to have beer and burgers coming through, but you are not going to retire back to Canada with monetization in a walk and talk format like ours from YouTube. But it's recognition, and your channel has grown very fast, but you are very focused on getting something out every day and building that life in Southeast Asia and Siem Reap at the moment. Yeah, $200 is very good. So I'm surprised at that actually. So that is good. So I stand corrected. Because if I could have a channel that just gave me $200, I would feel like I'm getting valued for what I'm doing. So long story short, my plan is to definitely have consistency, and that will be Tuesdays and Thursdays or other days, but let's get two VARTs out a week, and let's try and get them to the 20 or 30 minute mark with solid quality content. So my focus is not going to be a VART a day. My focus is going to be more quality content. So I've got a list of topics, but I have to say I don't do much research on my topics. I know what I want to say about my topics. So a bit of research and just get the story crisper, I think will improve the watch hours. So at the end of that, my business plan for YouTube actually says at the top, it's a hobby. And I'm not going to retire and be a YouTuber. I'm going to be retired and punch out YouTubes on the side. So it's the other way around for me. That said, I really enjoy doing it. I prefer getting out in the street with the phone. G'day everybody, welcome back. This is Vietnam Steve. I got a good one for you today. That's my cup of tea, and I'm into Vietnam on Friday night. I'll be tied up with the family Saturday and Sunday, but you can expect one next week on Tuesday from Steve walking along Halong Bay, telling everyone how great it is to be back in the land of the rising dragon. Yeah, it does feel like a value for Sean. I think that's good value, That said, you're punching out five bits of content a week, which are all good. The thing I would be worried about would be, for instance, when I see a video from a frequent poster and I'm busy, I think, that's great, I'll watch that later, but then maybe I do, maybe I don't. YouTube sends it to me. I'm subscribed to the people that I like, but sometimes YouTube gets nasty and doesn't send stuff. I've got a conspiracy theorist from the US that gives me a rundown every day. I Allegedly, great channel, but never. I'm subscribed, but never turns up in my feed. So wonder what's going on there. I think you're going to make a great success of it, Frugal Wanderer. I just think that you've got the right cadence for you. You're not going to be producing the super slick drone, formats. I mean, I've got a gimbal that balances the phone. I don't like using it. It's heavier than just the phone. I've got a selfie stick I'm on at the moment that probably makes it bounce around a bit while I'm walking, but I prefer that because it's light. And what I really prefer is just to think about something I want to share and put the phone up and away we go. The beauty of Siem Reap, Halong Bay is that whatever's in the background is great stuff, great stuff. Yes, YouTube is a fickle mistress. And all of that, I am unmonetized, but I've got almost 100 videos out there. So what we do with old videos, I don't know. I don't really want to repurpose them, but I don't really need to have 5 years of videos there. There are some good topics in those older videos, and I would, of course, go and view them all. I could look at them and then remake that topic. I mean, things like top 10 reasons I love Vietnam, those things that just go on forever. So that's my goal for the channel. I hope that works with all the people that subscribe. I am surprised, being early in July, I get a feed from the overlords at YouTube about how the channel's gone. I am surprised that 90-something% of my viewers are new viewers and 6 or 8% are returning viewers. I'm surprised by that because I would have thought most people would see the link, click on it, and away you go. The other thing I'm surprised about is that probably half of my viewers are in Vietnam. And I think the Vietnamese locals like to see people talking about their country, of course. So my plan as I get close to 1,000 subscribers is to spend some money of my own, not from YouTube, and get a translation situation happening. Now that is a bit of work, but I think that would be making the channel really good for Vietnamese people, because me giving my take as a Western person about their country, they like to hear that, and they like to feed back about, have you tried this, have you tried that? And I love to engage. I'm here for the long haul, so it doesn't really matter how fast I do things. And of course, if we take time out of the equation, a lot of stress goes away. In our previous lives, there's been deadlines, but of course nobody ever died, so they weren't really deadlines. All right, got about 15 minutes to go. I've seen a few people joining the channel. If you're listening now, why don't you put in the chat where you're from, what the time is there, and where I am here, it's 3:15 in the afternoon, so that would be 2:15 back in Vietnam. Yes, I don't have a editing software, and that is that would be something that would interest me, is to actually do sort of an online editing course, because I'm not an editor. I use the basic tools that are on my computer, and they're free, so you get what you pay for. I did look up somebody that had auto subtitles, Sean, and they didn't have Vietnamese. If I paid money, they would get Vietnamese, so that sort of slowed me down a little bit, as you well know, being Frugal Wanderer. Oh, DaVinci's free, and there are tons of courses. Well, I'm going to look straight into that. Thank you. I've got a couple of options for subtitles. You can type them in yourself, which would take forever. I'd get one of the kids to type them in, or you can. It'll do it automatically, but then I'll still need somebody to check it because my pronunciation is not the best. Francois, nice to have you along, my friend. Francois is my best friend from Brisbane, Australia, and he and I have known each other for 20 odd years, and he's always encouraging me in whatever I'm doing. So it's great to have you along, Francois. All right, so maybe DaVinci Resolve is the way to go. Francois is a data scientist, so straight from the horse's mouth there, I'd need a powerful PC. That's interesting. I have I'm working off a MacBook Air here. It's constrained by power and size, and I do need a new computer, so maybe I'll get a powerful PC. I like the Apple products because I'm all in Apple fanboy, but this is running on 8 gig of RAM, and that's not a lot. I'll test that out. That's something I can do next week. The main things that I'm filling the day with, other than YouTube, is exercise. So I'm up in the morning, I'm doing 5 kilometres, I'm having a coffee, I'm getting whatever needs to be done that day. There are people that still chase me for work-related things, and I'm having lunch at 11:30. So most mornings are taken up. I like to do the filming early in the morning. It's fresh and easy, and I can do the editing in the afternoon. I'm really going to get on a routine with that. Thanks, Francois. Next time I'm back in Brisbane, I'll hit you up for a training event. Sounds like it's well organised. B-Link. Okay, that's good. Thank you to the rest of you that have joined. The other thing that's useful in Vietnam is golf. I'm a bit of a golfer. I'm not very good at it, but I do like getting out and smashing the ball. So probably once a month I will play golf with somebody here that likes to play golf at some golf course that we've never heard of. But there are some picturesque golf courses in Vietnam. So for all of you that send through the comments about where am I and what should you do, please comment. Even after this goes up live, I'll be going back and responding to all the comments. My short VART 10 minutes on Mondays had hundreds of comments, and everybody's talking about the cost of cigarettes in their country and how it's exorbitant. Luckily, I don't smoke. And most people, I think, in Vietnam don't smoke. If I went to a party with 20 men, there might be 2 that smoke. 18 would not smoke. So that's interesting. The other thing you see is they have a pipe with tobacco in the cafe, and a lot of cafes just have that sitting there, and you can come and have a toke on the pipe. I don't know what is exactly in the pipe. It's not marijuana, but it is a hallucinogen type tobacco, because my wife has said, if you have too much of that, you get drunk. So, but it is interesting. I saw a gentleman in Hanoi that pedals one of those tourist bikes. So the little man's on the front, and there's 2 fat Americans in the back, and these 2 fat guys lined him up for a pedal around old Hanoi. And he raced over to the cafe I was in and got the pipe out from behind the tree, and big pile of smoke, and filled his lungs with the smoke of whatever was in there, and then got on the bike to ride these people around town. So interesting. Oh, hi, Brendan. Lovely to see you here. Da Vinci and CapCut, which are both free. I can see I can see a theme in the people that have joined my live stream. They know all the free tools, so I'm liking it already. Brendan, when are you coming up here? I love your videos. Now you do the walk and talk as well. Put the name of your channel in the chat there because it's a good one. You do the walk and talk as well, but the production value is very good. So you know, I won't ever do a video like that, but I will dream about doing one like that. It's all about should you stay in Australia or should you go to Southeast Asia? And if you go to Southeast Asia, what might you miss from Australia? So very good. I love watching them because I love seeing the scenery in the background. I like the walk and talk style. Oh, good. MacBook Air, and it is powerful enough. All right, Da Vinci and CapCut. I'm going to make a note here because I'm not very good at this. All right, we're good to go. How's Melbourne today, Brendan? I hope you're in Melbourne, and I haven't confused you with another person. Can you show your gimbal? No, I can't. It's in Vietnam, and I'm in Australia. It's actually the problem I have is it's a smartphone gimbal. I thought I was being smart getting a smartphone gimbal, and it works really well. It's a Xiaomi XIAMI. Xiaomi. It's a Chinese brand, and it works really well. The problem is it has a maximum weight for the camera of 200 grams, and I'm punching off a smartphone that weighs 240 grams. So it does tell me all the time error messages that the phone's too heavy for the stabilizer, and it does make it heavy when I go around the streets. So what I'm trying to get is a smaller Apple smartphone. That's proving impossible. That said, someone's given me a 12 Pro Max that just needs a couple of repairs I can get in Vietnam quite cheap, and that's up and running. But it doesn't help the problem because the 12 Pro Max is 238 grams. So I need a sub 200 gram smartphone. When I get to Vietnam on the weekend, Francois, I'll send you a photo of my gimbal. I might go out with my little selfie stick and show people the gimbal. It is good, and it does make it less bouncy when you're walking along. But I don't want to carry a lot of stuff, so... All right, Sean, go and do those errands. Thanks for the stream. We're coming up to the 55-minute mark, so we will knock it on the head after an hour. Really appreciate everyone that's come along. I don't have any gimbal brand recommendations. I would not buy the most expensive one. If I'm going to buy a gimbal that'll do a smartphone, I may as well just buy a proper camera, etc., and be done with it. So I'm trying to stick to my guns and have the smartphone situation. I like it because this video will go straight to the interweb. It'll be in my file where I file these things, and there's nothing really for me to do other than to make sure I'm connected to the internet, and I have very fast internet. Yep. Brendan, perfect. Thank you. So Francois, I'll see you when I'm back in Brisbane. Brendan, my sister and her husband are from Melbourne. They were here in Perth earlier today and they have gone to Broome for a week. So they're escaping the cold weather and they're in Broome, Australia for a week and then back to Melbourne. I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. Thank you for coming along. Two things we spoke about today was where you might like to go when you come to Vietnam for a tour, and we sort of went through 6 or 8 places and what I did in those places. And then the second half of the live stream, we really spoke about, my goal for getting this thing moving. And my goal is I like to feel rewarded for doing it. I mean, success is measured by the YouTube metrics, but I'm never going to drive it into being a business or a $200 a month money earner for me. So slow and steady for me, 2 varts a week, a live stream in the middle, and really engaging with the people. I mean, the thing that really turns me on is those 100 comments that I had this week from the most recent video, and just interacting with all those people about their dreams of coming to Vietnam. 0 degrees in Melbourne this morning, yeah. Now, I just saw another YouTuber that I follow called Fat and Broke in Saigon. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but he does get around the streets and punch out a lot of content. So I'm going to log off here and I'm going to go and watch Fat and Broke and see what his live stream's all about today. Thank you very much for joining. Please watch more of the videos. If you could watch 5 minutes of every video I've got, that'd be 500 minutes. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and for those of you that are regulars, please share the channel with somebody else, because when you share it to somebody else, they'll watch a little bit as well. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And this is Vietnam Steve signing off from Rachel's house.